Have you ever wondered why some animated characters or humanoid robots make you feel uncomfortable, even though they bear a striking resemblance to us humans? It's a question that leads us to an intriguing concept known as the uncanny valley. This is a phenomenon that emerges when something appears almost but not quite human. It's a subtle, off-putting sensation, a shudder that crawls up your spine when you encounter a robot or animation that mirrors humanity a bit too closely, yet is slightly off. This is not mere coincidence or a quirk of individual taste. The uncanny valley is a consistent, measurable response. It's a fascinating quirk of our psychology, and it's often exploited to great effect in horror films. The lifelike yet slightly skewed characters that populate these films don't just disturb us. They tap into a deep-rooted unease that lies at the heart of the human condition. So, what exactly is this uncanny valley, and why does it have such a profound impact on us? The term uncanny valley was first coined by Japanese roboticist Masahiro Mori in 1970. Since then, it has served as a sort of psychological topography, charting our emotional responses to humanoid creations as they inch closer towards mimicking human likeness. Imagine a graph, if you will. The horizontal axis represents how human-like an entity appears, and the vertical axis represents our affinity for it. As a robot or character becomes more human-like, our affinity for it increases. A teddy bear, for example, might sit comfortably on the upward slope of this graph. It's human enough to be endearing, but not so human that it's unsettling. But as we continue along the horizontal axis, we eventually reach a point where our affinity does not just plateau, but plunges into a valley of repulsion. This plunge represents the uncanny valley. The entity has become so human-like that it's no longer cute or endearing. It's creepy. Consider the movie Polar Express. Despite its high-quality animation and compelling storyline, some viewers found the human characters off-putting. They were so close to being human, yet something was just off. They were residents of the uncanny valley, or take Sophia, the humanoid robot. Her realistic facial movements, her capacity for conversation, all make her incredibly human-like. And yet, many people find interacting with her deeply unsettling. Again, she's a dweller of the uncanny valley. But what is it about these nearly human creations that sends us hurtling into this valley of unease? Is it their eyes, often described as soulless or vacant? Or perhaps it's the slight stiffness in their movements, the minute deviations from human behavior that our brains can't help but pick up on? These questions lead us to the heart of the uncanny valley concept, probing the edges of our comfort zones and challenging our understanding of what it means to be human. But why does this eerie chasm exist? Why do we, as humans, recoil from these nearly human creations? The uncanny valley isn't just a concept in animation or robotics, it's deeply rooted in our psychology. So let's delve deeper into the fascinating world of our minds to decipher why we find eerily human-like creations so unsettling. At the heart of this phenomenon lies our inherent need for survival. As humans, we're biologically wired to recognize and respond to subtle cues that something or someone might pose a threat. This instinct has been honed over thousands of years and is ingrained in our DNA. When we encounter something that looks human but isn't quite right, our brain raises a red flag. It's like a silent alarm, a primal instinct, warning us that something is off. This unease, this sense of the uncanny, could be our survival instinct kicking in, a vestige from our primitive past when correctly identifying threats was a matter of life and death. But what if there's more to it? Some theories suggest that our revulsion is a result of cognitive dissonance, a mental struggle when our brains try to reconcile the conflict between what we see and what we know. When we see an almost human robot or animated character, we're faced with a paradox. Our eyes tell us it's human, but our brains know it's not. This cognitive conflict can be quite unsettling, causing feelings of unease and revulsion. It's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. Our brains like consistency, and when they can't categorize something into neat boxes, it causes discomfort. Another interesting angle is the concept of empathy. We're social creatures, wired for connection. When we see something that looks human, we instinctively try to connect with it, to empathize. But when that entity doesn't respond as a human would, it creates a jarring disconnect, triggering feelings of unease. So it seems our brains have a hard time accepting these nearly human creations, but what are the implications of this? As we delve deeper into the uncanny valley, we'll see how this seemingly simple concept has far-reaching implications, not just for the world of animation and robotics, but for our understanding of human psychology itself. The uncanny valley has a significant effect on how we interact with technology and consume media. It's a force that subtly influences our daily lives, often without us even realizing it. Consider our interactions with artificial intelligence. Siri, Alexa, and other virtual assistants have become commonplace, serving as our daily companions. They're designed with human-like features, from their voices to their conversational abilities. But have you ever felt a little creeped out when Siri responds just a bit too naturally? That's the uncanny valley at play, making us question whether our digital assistant is a tool or something uncomfortably close to a fellow human. Now let's shift our focus to the world of animation. Animated movies have come a long way from the days of early Disney. Today's characters are more realistic than ever, with lifelike movements and expressions. But when animators push the boundaries of realism too far, audiences can react with discomfort. Look at the initial reaction to the first trailer of Cats. The characters were so human-like, yet not quite human, that they unsettled many viewers. This backlash forced the creators to make adjustments, demonstrating the importance of navigating the uncanny valley carefully. This phenomenon also impacts virtual reality and video games. The more realistic the characters and environments, the more immersive the experience. But again, too much realism can be jarring and off-putting, pulling players out of the game world. Creators strive to overcome the uncanny valley to improve user experience. They use a combination of technology and artistic skill to strike a balance between realism and stylization. It's a delicate dance, aiming to make characters and AI appealing and relatable without crossing into the realm of the uncanny. So the next time you find yourself feeling uncomfortable with a seemingly human-like character or robot, remember, it's just your brain navigating the uncanny valley.